Welcome to another lecture on teaching pronunciation. In my earlier lecture, I talked about the importance of sounds and their learning in context. In this lecture, I'm going to talk about some other aspects of pronunciation which are perhaps more important than individual sounds, which we in our own language, that is those people who are concerned with teaching or learning phonetics, we call suprasegmentals. And today I'll be talking about specifically three important aspects of pronunciation: syllable, stress, and intonation. Syllable refers to larger units than simple sounds. When we were pronouncing the words, we looked at the way individual letters like A are pronounced differently in different contexts. So we're basically talking about one sound. But we know that there are words which are not just one sound but a group of sounds. And those groups of sounds, which we call a chunk and are pronounced together, we call them syllables, as you will see in a moment from now. Stress refers to the amount of force with which a sound of a syllable is made. When you have different sounds in a word, all of them are not produced in the same manner. There are reasons for that. The air from lungs, when we breathe in and breathe out that air, it causes different friction in our production of sounds. So you hear some sounds more audibly than others. And the part of the word that you hear with more force, we call that it is a stressed part. Intonation refers to the pitch of the voice. When we speak as normal human beings, our voice sometimes goes up, sometimes it goes down. And we call such up and downs in our voice or in the pitch of our voice, we call it intonation. Or when we talk of syllables as groups of sounds produced together, we must understand, first of all, that English has a specific structure of syllables. It's not very difficult to understand. If you look at the words like pin, pan, pun, pole, push, pool, you will see that the middle sound in all these words is more forceful than other sounds, because the middle sound is a vowel sound. But vowel sound, there is only one vowel sound. The rest of the letters, either in the beginning or at the end, they are consonants. Now all these words, because they have only one vowel in the middle, or because they are produced at the same speed, we call them single syllable words. But what about other words? Say these words slowly. Open, parade, correct, about. You see that in these words there are two vowels or vowel sounds. If you have noticed it, that the words have already been divided into two parts. Either the vowel is separated or vowel and consonants are separated. We call such words two-syllable words. Now, how many syllables are there in the following words? Compute. As you can see, come has one vowel, pute has another vowel. Remember, I'm not talking of vowel letter. I'm talking of vowel sound, because in compute you find a vowel letter at the end, but it is not pronounced. Computer, computer. It has three vowel sounds, therefore three syllables. Computerize, you have in computerize four vowel sounds, therefore four syllables. In computerization, computerization, you have six vowel sounds, therefore six syllables. Now, what is the syllable structure in English? It's not very difficult. As I already pointed out, that you have to count the number of vowels in a word. And vowel is very important because that is the nucleus, the peak, the most forceful sound in a particular word. The nucleus, that is the vowel. It can be a complete syllable in itself. For instance, the word I, E-Y-E, there is no consonant in it. Or O, there is no consonant in it. However, there can be a consonant or consonants before this nucleus, that is vowel, or there can be a consonant or consonants following this nucleus. Once a consonant or consonants precede it, we call it the onset. And if our consonant or consonants follow the nucleus, we call it the coda. Nucleus and coda together are called the rhyme. Now, look at this diagram. The symbol at the top is used for syllable. The first two branches, onset and rhyme. So that means a syllable contains two elements, onset and rhyme. Rhyme is further divided into two parts, nucleus and coda. Nucleus is mandatory. That is, without nucleus, there cannot be any syllable, except in certain special circumstances where a consonant becomes a nucleus, but that is a special case only in certain words in English where there is no vowel but the following consonant becomes a syllable itself. We call it a syllabic consonant. Now, in order to find out how many syllables there are in a particular word, I already pointed out, look at the number of vowels in a particular word. Look at the word unpopular. How many vowels are there? As you can see, there are 4 vowels in this word. Therefore, it has 4 syllables. So, what is important in any word is the number of syllables, but not all the syllables are produced in the same pitch, in the same voice. And the part of the syllable that you hear more forcefully or more audibly, that is called the stressed syllable or stressed part of that word. So, what is stress? Stress is force with which we produce a particular part in a word which you hear more audibly than others. Listen to the words: photo, photograph, photographer, photography. So, photo and photography, that part is more important, more stressed than others. That is what stress means in a word. Listen to these words: music, but musician. The capitalized part is the stressed part of the word. Parade. Raid is more audible than p. Correct. Rect is more audible than others. So we say that in these words, in musician, the middle part is stressed. In parade, it is second syllable which is stressed. So is the case in correct. Now, what is the rule for understanding stress in English? I must warn you that the explanations that I'm going to give you, they are not to be taken as very rigid rules. By and large, it has been observed that 2-syllable nouns and adjectives have stress on the first syllable. As you can see in feature, teacher, I have capitalized the stressed syllable. However, 2-syllable verbs, they have stress on the second syllable. As you can see, the stressed parts have been capitalized. Correct, assign, attend, agree. Study these words also. Go, above. So there are words in English which have more than 2 syllables. As I told you before, explanations may not help you much unless you listen to a native speaker or listen to a recording. These days, there are different dictionaries available which give you audio facility also of listening to these words and the way they are pronounced. Stress is important in sentences also, because when you speak English, not all the words are produced in the same tone or in the same voice. 2 types of words are there used in English. One, we call them content words. Nouns, adjectives, verbs, and adverbs. They are normally stressed. However, grammatical words, articles, auxiliary verbs, prepositions, pronouns, and conjunctions are not normally pronounced, they are weak. Study these sentences. What do you notice? I want 2 return tickets to London. I want 2 return tickets to London. I want 2 return tickets to London. 3 different words have been stressed in these sentences. In the first, you are stressing 2. So you want 2 tickets, not 1. In the second, you are stressing return. You don't want single journey, you want return. In the second, it is the place that is important. So when you stress the words, you can make your communication effective by stressing a particular word more than many others, though there are other words also which are stressed. For example, in the first sentence, want is stressed, return is stressed, but 2 is the most important, which is called the focal word in English, in the language, in this sentence, and it makes all the difference in speaking. Now, what is important is, one of the best ways is to say the words aloud in a normal way and then see which part is stressed. Pronounce them. A kilo of sugar. Give me an apple. I'd like some cake. He's late again. We can leave as soon as you are ready. What is important in all these words? You will see that kilo in first and sugar, they are more prominent than all. Similarly, in other sentences, there are content words which receive stress, which receive emphasis, which receive more force than most of the grammatical words. Now, when you say a kilo of sugar, how do you say it? And the way you say it would depend on whether it is an answer to a question or it's a piece of information. And when you say a particular sentence in a certain manner, it's called intonation or tone. Now, intonation is very important for expressing your attitude, your feeling. There are certain languages where stress changes the meaning of the word. However, English is not that type of language. Here, intonation or tone does not change the meaning, but it makes the speaker show himself or herself as friendly, apologetic, sorrowful, or so on and so forth. They are very complex things in English. I can only advise you to listen to language more and more, not to go to the rules, because they are not very often very helpful. However, there are certain general rules which I am going to talk about here. 3 tones are very important in English. One is the falling tone or intonation. Another is rising intonation or rising tone, and the level tone. Now, how do we make a difference between a falling tone, a rising tone, or a level tone? Here is an illustration where A is saying something, there is a falling tone on, sorry. Sorry. That means I don't want to turn down the radio. Oh, sorry. Sorry. That means I have not heard you. Could you please say it again? However, one of the important things that happens in English is that tones can show the attitude of the speaker and the listener, both to the person and to the preposition. For this, we use either a fall-rise or rise-fall tune. For example, in reply to a question, how was your trip to Delhi? Brilliant. It shows your excitement. It shows that you have enjoyed. Beautiful. Boring. Really? Really? I don't agree with you. So as I told you, tones do not change the meaning, but they show the listener's attitude towards the person, whether he is friendly, whether he is in agreement, whether he is apologetic, or so on and so forth. Rules which I have spelled out just now, they are a good guide. But that does not mean that there are no exceptions. In fact, English is the language where you have so many exceptions to so many rules. So what is important for a common learner, one who is not doing any course in phonetics, one who is not doing any course in linguistics, for him or her, it is important that he or she listens to English more and more. This is what I have been trying to demonstrate through this lecture. Remember what I have been stressing, that pronunciation is not just the production of individual sounds. It is not just learning to produce syllables in words, 2-syllable words, 3-syllable words. It is much more than that. In fact, to be on the safer side, pronunciation teaching involves learning the sounds of English, learning the syllable structure in English, learning to stress important parts of words, what we call syllables, and learning to speak in a manner which is normal, which is good, and which is intelligible. The goal is intelligibility and effective communication. These things are possible when you learn to speak English normally as normal human beings. I thank you all for listening to me.